If you're a health of a life coach and you want to create some new offers in your coaching business, but you're not quite sure how to structure them, then today I'm going to talk all about having an offer suite in your coaching business. Let's dive in. Hi there, welcome to the Wholehearted Business Show. I'm Laura. I help health and life coaches get more clients, grow their businesses, and live the best lives while they do it. And today we're talking all about an offer suite. Now, you may or may not have heard of this term before. It's a fairly new one that I've heard. I've had a couple of clients mention it before to me. And what we're basically talking about today is how do we have more than one offer in our coaching business? How do we approach that and how do we structure it? Now, I have talked about this topic in a similar way before. I've done an episode of the show all about a multi-offer coaching business, and I will link to that. I think that a multi-offer coaching business is slightly different from what I'm going to talk about today in terms of an offer suite, because a multi-offer coaching business tends to be a bit more sprawling. It has a lot more offers, and it's all a little bit more of a kind of playground approach, whereas I think an offer suite is a little bit more curated and specific. So there are some key differences, but if you like the idea of having like loads of offers in your coaching business and you love creating new things, do also go and check out that episode of the show that I will link to. But today we're going to focus on what an offer suite of, let's say, kind of like 3 to 4 or 5 offers might look like in a health and life coaching business, why you might want to have that set up in place, and where to get started if you do want to create more than one central one-to-one coaching offer. So why would you want to have more than one offer? I think there's lots of really good reasons why a lot of health and life coaches these days want to have more than just their one central one-to-one coaching offer. It has been the case in the past, I think, where a lot of coaches could get started and just have one offer, and that worked really, really well. They have one coaching package. It was really simple, and, at the time was easy enough to sell people into it. Things have changed vastly in the coaching industry, and I think there's a number of reasons why people might want to experiment with having more than just one-to-one coaching offer. One clear reason is they want to be able to offer something to people at different price points. I think they want to be able to build more know, like, and trust with people at a lower price point, and therefore a lower risk for the client or customer to invest in working with them. I think that they might want to make money in a way that is not so attached to their time. I think that's a really, really valid reason as well. And I think you might just want to have a bit more fun and be a bit more creative with the way in which you deliver on your services to people. So there's all sorts of different very valid reasons why you might want to have more than one offer. However, where some coaches get a little bit stuck, and where I will hold my hands up, and I have 100% made this mistake in the past, is that you create offers because they sound nice or you think that they sound fun, which is perfectly valid reason to create them, by the way, but they lack the strategic understanding of how they fit into the rest of your business model. This is something that I've talked about in a brand new free training that I've got called Create Your Profitable Business Model, and it also comes with a business plan template, and we're talking a little bit about how to make sure that the offers that you're creating in your coaching business are actually going to be profitable. And we're going to touch on some elements of that, but do go and check out that free training if you want to delve into that topic a little bit more. So where should you start if you want to create an offer suite in your coaching business? I think the best place to start is with your niche and your ideal client and the problems that you solve for people and the transformation that you create. Really drilling that down and really breaking down those problems into specific key problems is really, really helpful. What tends to happen, again, I'm talking in very generalized terms, but what tends to happen is your one-to-one coaching offer will address a kind of combination of problems and will provide a really big, hopefully, a really big transformation where you are helping people solve a number of problems together and you're helping them get to this place that they want to get to, this aspiration that they have for themselves. And this is what I love about the coaching industry. I love that we are in the business of helping people with a transformation. I think that's amazing. And when you have other offers, I'm going to make the big assumption here, and this is not always the case, but I'm going to generally talk about you having a one-to-one main coaching offer in your coaching business. Most coaches will have that. If you don't want to have that, then that's fine. But you still need to have some kind of offer in your business that is driving the profit. And again, I talk about that in that free profitable business model training, so do check that out. So when you have that tends to address a lot of problems. But when you break down those problems, can you create other offers that address smaller elements of the bigger picture that you help people with? Like, are there kind of steps that people need to go through before they kind of get to the point where they take this big leap and this big transformation in your one-to-one coaching package? Breaking that down and really looking at what those are is a great place to start when it comes to creating more offers in your coaching business. The second thing that you want to look at is, how do you actually like to deliver on your work? This is a question that I think is not talked about enough in the coaching industry by business coaches like me. I think it's really, really important because we want to enjoy our businesses, and your delivery on your services and offers is a massive chunk of how you're going to spend your time in your coaching business. You can have the most profitable offer in the world, but if you do not enjoy delivering on that, then it's not going to work. So how do you actually like to deliver? Like, is there a method of delivery? Is there a kind of a way that you like to show up? Like, what does that look like for you? Have a really, really good think about that. And also think about the price point that you might associate with that. Now, again, very, very generally, and we're going to talk a bit about low, mid and high ticket offers in a second, but generally speaking, the more time someone gets with you, the more individualized attention they get, the higher ticket the offer should be. But again, that is incredibly general. So it's a bit of a, it can be a helpful rule of thumb, but it's not a rule by all means. So think about how it is that you like to show up and deliver on your services, because that's going to make a difference. Like, for example, with me, I've had memberships in the past, and while I've enjoyed a lot of aspects of them, what I didn't enjoy with a membership was the pressure to have to create content every single month on repeat. And that I found that quite a heavy thing to do, although I'm perfectly happy creating the Wholehearted Business Show every single week. But for some reason, the membership, it just didn't feel good. But I had to kind of go through the process of trying out a membership a couple of times before I really could see that that was a way of having to show up that I didn't enjoy. So bear that in mind as well. And then you can start to think about the different kinds of offers that you can create in a coaching business. And I mean, there are hundreds probably of ways that you can show up and create an offer for your people. Everything from obviously your one-to-one coaching and the different ways that you can package that, the different number of sessions, the different ways that you can deliver on that, group programs, memberships, courses, self-study courses with a live element, courses with a one-to-one element, like small digital products, audios, like all sorts of different things that you can create and deliver on. Think about what your people need and think about how you like to deliver. And again, it's this kind of very, kind of complex, but also really beautiful intersection of all these different needs that you want to think about. Now, this is actually something that I cover in one of my programs and courses called Create Your Aligned Offer. We cover this exact kind of process of figuring out what the right offers for you to deliver on and price and everything and sell in that program. So please do go and check that out if any of this is relevant to you, because we cover all of that, and it is actually on a special offer right now too. So go and take a look at that if that sounds good to you. But we cover all of this, and it is this kind of intermix of stuff. And this is often where people really benefit from having an outside point of view and some support from a coach or mentor in their coaching business to help them figure out what the right things are, because it is quite a lot of stuff to consider. So you've got all of these different kinds of offers that you can create. And then you've got the way that they're priced and how they kind of stack together. So there's a lot of talk in the coaching industry right now about low ticket, mid ticket and high ticket offers. Now, low ticket offers tend to be under $100, £100. Mid ticket kind of like, depending on, again, your niche. And what I would say is that your niche really dictates what is seen as low ticket, mid ticket and high ticket. But generally speaking, mid ticket is kind of like £100, $100 plus up to about $1,000. And then high ticket is $1,000 plus. But again, depending on your niche, that can be different. But thinking about your offers and how they are placed. Now, I've recently saw a fantastic email from someone, and I can't remember her name off the top of my head. I'll put a link to her. I think it's Elise Dharma or Elsie Dharma. And she talked about how low ticket offers are like entry points, mid ticket offers build know, like and trust, and high ticket offers are where you really get into like the grit of the delivery and the grit of helping people and actually make a profit. So it was really interesting to see her perspective on it, and I thought that made a lot of sense to me and what I'm seeing in the coaching industry as well. However, it's always worth noting that the business to consumer, so for health and life coaches who are not working business to business, it's always slightly different. But generally speaking, this can be a good framework to look at your offers. Like, do you need to structure an offer suite in terms of low ticket offers, some mid-ticket offers, and then your bigger coaching program, and what kind of problems do you want to address and help people with in these offers, and how do you structure them? So it is tricky, and this is why I've got a full course on it. So again, check out Create Your Aligned Offer, and it does come with some support from me and a little bit of individualized support, because it is quite complex to know how to fit these things together in a way that is going to make sense, because ultimately what we are talking about is that profitable business model. When we're creating an offer suite, this is what we're actually talking about. So it's about putting all these things together. Another term that you'll hear talked about in this kind of space is the ascension model. And that's another interesting thing to look at. I think offers should be very clear about where they start and end and what that transformation is within that offer. But again, an offer suite is about stacking up some offers in a way that will help people move through a process that will ultimately, hopefully, result in more people going into your profit center, your main core offer. That's kind of what we want to look at with a coaching suite, is like, what's the core offer? What offers are around that? How are they structured? How do they make sense? And that's the conversation that we want to have. And like I say, it is quite complex, and it is often where people benefit from getting some outside support, which I can offer. Hello. So do get in touch if you want to have a chat about that. But this is where all these things come together. And then finally, you want to really think about how you sell this stuff. This is the big thing that a lot of people forget about when they're creating offers. Is you can create all the offers that you want, but are you actually going to sell them, and how are you going to sell them? Like, what is the sales process going to look like for these offers, and how does it make sense? This is such an important part of the whole thing, because again, part of your offer suite is understanding what your core offer is, and how ultimately anything that you're doing with any other offers are contributing towards that core offer being profitable at the end of the day. And for that to happen, again, this is what we cover in the profitable business model training, is making sure that the offers around that make sense, and that you're selling those things in that way. So a lot of stuff's changed around how we do sales. And I think where a lot of coaches get stuck is that they are relying on methods of selling that are really, really out of their control. And I mean, to a certain degree, a lot of stuff is out of our control. We can do all of the strategies and all that stuff and put it out into the world and hope that people will find it and it will create a result. That is a lot of what a coaching business is. But there are things that you can do that give you a lot more control. And I think when you are relying on a lot of very manual selling, which is fine in the start, like, having to reach out to people, having to really build those very direct, high touch connections with people. And I still think they're always relevant. But I think when you're having to do all of that, then that gets quite hard work. And actually what you need is a system and a process, which is one of the things that we teach in Wholehearted Business, is to create a bit of a system that helps drive your lead generation, your sales, all that kind of stuff. And again, your offer suite is part of what that all kind of looks like. So you want to be thinking about how it is that you're selling. Are you relying on building an email list and then selling people through a funnel? Are you still doing a lot of one-to-one kind of selling? Are you going to be doing launches, mini launches, flash sales? Like, what does all this look like? That's part of having the offer suite as well. So you can talk about having an offer suite. You can, put the offers together, but if you're missing the sales piece, you're going to have some problems. If you are missing the strategy of how these offers interconnect, you're going to struggle as well. So this is why I would absolutely suggest you take a look at the free profitable business model training. I will put a link to that. And also, if you feel called, do check out Create Your Aligned Offer. It is on a special offer until I believe the end of the week of this show going out. I will put all the information in there. But it's a really thorough course, and we talk all about how to create different offers. And also, part of what I love about creating offers, and one of the things that actually prompted me to create Your Aligned Offer, was that I like to be able to just kind of create offers on a bit of a, like, this sounds fun. I mean, this kind of goes against everything that I've talked about today in terms of strategy, but I do like the idea of being able to just create offers if you need like a bit of an income boost, or if you want to do something different, or if you want to try out a new like pivot part of your niche or whatever. I love that you can do that with offers. So as well as helping you create a strategic offer suite, Create Your Aligned Offer will also help you kind of just think about how you can create offers in the more multi-offer way that are covered in that episode. Just to try and recap, an offer suite is basically a strategic, curated number of offers that all work together in order to drive more sales into your core offer, your profit center. You want to think about your niche, you want to think about your ideal client, the problems that they have, the aspirations they have, the mini transformations that you can give them as well. You also want to think about like the low, mid, high ticket stuff. Consider how all that kind of like works in. And again, it needs to make sense for your niche and your ideal clients and things like that. You want to think about how you enjoy showing up. You want to think about the different formats that different offers can take. You want to think about how you're selling stuff, really, really important, and how all of this works together to make sure that you are actually making money in your coaching business and not just spinning your wheels. If you want support with that, check out the free profitable business model training, and do check out Create Your Aligned Offer, because we cover a lot of this stuff in there. That is like where you want to be if you want a bit more support with this and you want to do it really comprehensively, because this is something where it's, and again, speaking completely from experience, it's very easy to make, I wouldn't say mistakes, because I don't think we make mistakes. I think everything's like a little bit of a detour, but where you might spin your wheels a bit more than you need to. So Create Your Aligned Offer is great for that. And also, if you just want to learn how to create and sell a small digital product, Super Simple Passive Income is the other program to check out, because we cover a lot of that stuff in there as well. I hope that's been helpful for everyone. If you're watching on YouTube, please like and subscribe. I am trying to grow my subscribers on YouTube this year, so a subscribe would be really, really helpful. Thank you so much. If you're listening on the podcast, please come over to YouTube. Come and say hello, come and see my face. And also, if you're listening on the podcast and you do enjoy what I share, a really easy way to say thank you is to just leave me a review. It's so helpful when you have a podcast. That would be amazing. Thank you very, very much. Okay guys, I will see you next week. Take care. Bye.